We're live. I thank you for being here. My name is Wayne Pelletier. I got a cool topic today, subscription versus project fee. I've had this conversation 5 times in the last 2 weeks, and I thought it might be helpful to see how I answer this and how I work through this conversation with skeptics or leads, clients. Having brought on some new subscribers recently, I feel like this conversation is warm. And look, you have to do what's right for your business. Everyone does. But why a subscription? It became obvious to me why subscriptions could be helpful, or how subscriptions could be helpful over the last couple of years, having talked to over 100 business owners. And most of them have the exact same issues with their web designer and with their website. And I've created some of those websites. If I'm being honest with you, like, the issues are systemic. Some of them are software related. Some of them are talent related. Some are process related. There's a lot of reasons why a website and or website relationship breaks down. And having talked to those owners, it appears, sadly, that we've earned a bit of a bad rap as a web design industry. Many owners or executives at bigger companies, maybe not owners, but leaders, have found freelancers or contractors to be a bit unreliable. And there are reasons for that perception, and there are reasons why those relationships break down over time. So really, that was the whole point of the subscription, was at least 50% of the point was, how can we create a more reliable business? How can we bring agency level design, art direction, creative direction, talent to smaller businesses without costing a fortune in project fees and without having some relationship break down the way they do. So here, I spent 30 years as a designer, art director, and creative director for agencies. So I've been on both ends of this, and I've seen these relationships fatigue in a lot of different ways. But here are the top, I'll say 5 or 6 reasons why I think a subscription model serves these businesses really well and solves several pain points that small businesses have with web designers and the web design industry. The first one, it protects their cash flow. Not having to write a big check for $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 to get a website done can be really powerful for a small business to protect their cash flow, because often a small business, especially if it's a product-based business, runs on really slim margins. A services business, the margins have more play, but from a product company standpoint, they definitely run tight. So it's a great way to protect the cash flow of those businesses so they can stay productive and not enter a period of anxiety, because we're always our mouths are always writing checks that we can't always cash as entrepreneurs. So I get it. The next one would be anxiety of future costs and updates. So there's a related one here, but a lot of times when I speak to a business owner or a leader and I ask them who has helped them in the past with their website, they're like, oh, so-and-so or someone, or I haven't talked to them in years, or I've emailed them, I haven't heard back. And then when they do hear back, they're entering a period of negotiation for the updates. So we want to add a new photo, a new team member, and we want to make changes to our about page copy. We've got a new tagline, and we need to add a field to our form. They enter and that's random. They enter a negotiation to say, okay, that's going to be $200, or it's going to be 1 hour, 2 hours of my time. And now we're having a conversation about hourly rate. So those surprise invoices, once they're negotiated and the work is done, usually 2-3 weeks has passed. Sometimes it's all done within a week. There are some of us out here who are really responsive, and that's great, but not everyone. Because here's the thing. As a designer, you're always working on a new big design project, or as an agency, you've got new clients that you're onboarding, clients that are in sort of mid-project, and then you got deliveries. There are always different cycles of completeness. And pausing a $10,000 job to help somebody for 30 minutes and $75 can be an issue. So it's hard to schedule that stuff in because there's a lot of pressure to get that $10,000 thing done. Therein lies a misalignment of priorities between the agency, freelancer, contractor, help, whatever we want to call us, and then the brand. So oftentimes, I'm looking to see if anybody's in here. No, that's good. So oftentimes that breakdown is where time starts to lapse. Because if there's anxiety about what someone's going to be paying to get some updates done to the website, they're not going to send that email. Not everyone anyway. And not sending that email means time passes. And as time passes, the site continues to age and fatigue. The content continues to age and fatigue. And the relationship ages and fatigues. And now it's harder to cross a large delta to ask somebody to do something if you have anxiety around it. So frequency, that's my next one. Frequency prevents the breakdown in relationships, and having a subscription means we're always in contact. I'm always on the hook to provide value and to be accessible, and everyone is worth the same. So I'm not stopping a $10,000 project to help somebody for $75 or $150 or whatever it is to make small updates to the website. So that predictability in monthly expenses creates a comfort level. It's not the best value for everyone. You have to be a fairly productive business, but if you are, the reliability and that predictability has a peace of mind that is just proven 100% to be true. All of my subscribers at Resonant Pixel Co. that have been around for 2 years value that they can just email or go to their Trello board and put something in and bang, it just gets done very quickly. And there's no long-term negotiation. There's no anxiety about what it's going to cost. If anything, it's more like, I'm paying you money, damn it, this better get done. So it better get done. And it does. So there's less security challenges with Squarespace than there are with other platforms like, say, WordPress. So structurally, ongoing maintenance has a different sort of design to it because there's less of a security issue and more emphasis on content and accessibility, new feature additions, communication, and making sure that everyone understands that there's opportunities that they can and should be taking advantage of on the website that maybe they're not. And I want to put time into these websites. I don't want to avoid customers. I want to bring customers closer. And therein lies a difference that project fees and subscriptions really kind of emphasize there. So I always say it allows owners to focus on their core work while we take care of the website. Like, go run your business, we'll run the website, and it's going to be amazing, and everyone's going to be happy. So that's sort of the crux of the argument. Now, from my business, like from a agency or freelance standpoint, yeah, unfortunately, we've earned a bit of a bad rap. So a subscription can be a great way for a business or executive to move away from the unreliability of freelancers and contractors and move into more of an agency support style model. And with the subscription, it's always predictable. So there's a lot of comfort in that. There's also a lot of comfort in my business. I don't know if you've read any of John Warlow's books, Built to Sell or The Automatic Customer, but there's a lot of value in having recurring revenue to the business providing the service. And recurring revenue creates a business that is easier to build predictability in. because of the consistency. And that goes a long way to building a business that, if all goes as planned, is always going to be there. It's predictably around for the long term because recurring revenue helps sustain it. So that's where a lot of freelancer unreliability bad rap comes from. Is a freelancer is living that roller coaster ride of the feast famine cycle of project work. You got a $20,000 a month and a $2,000 a month and a $5,000 a month. So you're always digging out of a hole with good months. Usually that happens in the spring and the fall. And the slow time is in the summer and the winter when everybody's on holiday. So freelancers often look for contracts or side work or take on side jobs, part-time jobs, or they stop freelancing altogether and take a full-time job because they just can't live like this anymore because it is a hard life. And that's where some of the bad rap for being unreliable comes from. And it's all for good reason. I wish it wasn't always that way, but that's what we've set up. So as a culture in business. So I think that the subscription model does a lot to create peace of mind and consistency for both businesses. And the alignment there goes a long way to building strong business relationships so that hopefully both businesses are growing constantly. This is why I love the subscription model so much. You can productize, speaking of fellow service providers, you can productize. And I use that word loosely. I've probably used it too much over the past couple of years. But when you have a service offering that is outcome-based and it comes the flat fee, everybody pays the same fee, it doesn't have to be a recurring subscription, more of a maintenance thing. It can just be, look, you're going to be live in 2 months. Here's the process. You're going through it. You're going to have an amazing outcome. And then just keep reselling that. That is also productization, but it's a different value proposition. It's changing whom you're speaking to as an audience, as a marketer, as a business builder. And I think that has a different value proposition. So understanding what you want to offer as a service to create either a productized service or a subscription service that doesn't have to be productized, it can be a retainer. But understanding the level of effort that goes into the deliverable to achieve that specific outcome and then continue working toward that outcome for every single brand is how we can continue to show up and be a business that provides ongoing value to all these clients and customers. So I hope this was helpful. This is why I love the subscription versus the project fee. Would I love to have all the cash from selling a bunch of projects? Sure. But I'm into long-term, lifetime value, and these relationships need to last a really long time. So I'll be damned if I don't put in the work to make sure that value is being delivered and those relationships continue to foster and grow. Because your network, what's the saying? Your network is your net worth, something like that. Having customers, clients, people that trust you, know you, like you, and trust you, they become your referral engine. And the value there is tremendous. So what I like to say with the end, when you get to the end of the last process, the last step in the credibility playbook, our process, when you get through that last step, it's called celebrate success. But it's not a launch that is a goodbye or a sayonara, have a nice life, or enjoy running your business with your new website. It's not the end. I call it the beginning. It's a subtle difference, but it matters that businesses don't feel like, all right, your website's live, bye. They should feel like, all right, our website's live, now what? That's why I give them the 12 months of content creation tool. Like, go. Now you can build all the content you want. Your website's live. Now you have an engine. You have a vehicle for sustained growth. we're selling websites, but they're really funnels now. They're not brochureware. It should be a transaction engine for the business. And that's what we build. But nobody searches Google and wants to buy a transaction engine. Zero. I'm pretty sure there's zero searches for that. They want a website because that's how they've come to know it. What they're getting is so much more, right? Because we know inside of Squarespace is invoicing, scheduling, event management, memberships, courses, digital products. Did I say scheduling? I think scheduling. Acuity's in there. Like, it does so much. And email marketing, CRM is in there. CRM and scheduling cost more. They cost extra, but they're available. And they're not particularly expensive as far as the marketplace goes. So they don't know what they're getting into from that standpoint, which is great. We don't need to sell the whole thing. We just need to onboard businesses in a way that gets them to the next milestone that makes them feel like they're going to be able to build momentum in the business. And there's no reason why launching a website should be an end point. It should be a starting point. And that's the way I position it. And having a subscription allows me to do that. I can appreciate that if working on a project basis, that's really difficult because now you're saying, okay, so you make updates for whatever per hour, your hourly rate. What's your hourly rate? You got to be careful that we're not just working in a relationship that is one has authority and one is just hands. It's important that there's no anxiety. And all you get when we start talking about hourly rate is anxiety over how much time you're going to be using. And that is not positive or productive because not everybody works at the same speed. Not everybody has the same level of expertise. It's an incomplete quotient. So that's why the subscription does such a good job at eliminating that anxiety. So I know I kind of circled back here and talked in a loop at the end, but as I am prone to do, anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about on the subscription versus project fee. If you want to learn more about subscriptions and how I have it designed, you can go to resonantpixel.co. It's the company's website. I think we do an all right job of explaining the subscription and how it all works. If you want to book a discovery call, there's a button on there. Sign up for the email list and the link in the description down below. I think that it's a great way to stay in touch, to just keep up to date with what we're doing, what we're creating, and opportunities that people are missing out on Squarespace as they launch a million new features, it seems like, every single month. And I don't know that I have a struggle bus segment today, do I? It's Wednesday, hump day. I'll tell you, if I'm struggling, it is in fulfillment and deliverable. We've sold some subscriptions in the past 2 weeks, and now all those websites got to be made, which is such a good problem to have. And I love the work and I love the challenge. So I wouldn't say it's struggle bus other than the stress of feeling like it's a race against the clock to get everybody's work done, make sure everybody is happy. And it's a challenge I welcome, but it doesn't make it less challenging. So I got another saying. You ready? The obstacle is the way. I love the book too. Love the book. Anyway, I'm going to go bump my head on another obstacle here. You enjoy the remainder of your week. I hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you're implementing all the things you want to be implementing. I will see you Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right back here on this channel. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with me for 19 and a half minutes. So have a great rest of your week. Oh, yeah, I got to do a subscription. No. Oh, the thumbnail faces. Can do those after, too, I guess. You didn't need to see all that. See? 1% better every day. Just 1%. That's all I'm asking myself for. Have a good one.